Shalom, there are many efforts to try and delegitimize Israel in the world. One was this Goldstone report, this supposed human rights report that tries to deny Israel the right to even defend itself against thousands of missiles by claiming that when the soldiers went into Gaza, they used too much force, which is ridiculous. How do you stop thousands of missiles when people are shooting missiles at you dressed in civilian clothing from schools and hospitals? But put that aside for a minute. Another effort to delegitimize Israel is to say that the modern Israel has no relationship to ancient Israel, that the people there are not from the ancient Near East. They're colonial oppressors from Europe. In fact, President Obama aided that position in his ridiculous Cairo speech, where he said, well, let me just read you a little paragraph about what he said to hurt Israel. This is from the Jewish World Report, June 9th. Obama's stunning offense to Israel and the Jewish people. This is by Ann Bayevsky. The president yet again makes his intentions clear. President Obama's Cairo speech was nothing short of an earthquake, a distortion of history, an insult to the Jewish people, an abandonment of the very real human rights victims in the Arab and Muslim worlds. It's not surprising that Arabs and Muslims in a position to speak were enthusiastic. It's more surprising that American commentators were praising the speech for its political craftiness rather than decrying its treachery of historic proportions. Obama equated the Holocaust to Palestinian dislocation. In his words, the Jewish people were persecuted. Anti-Semitism culminated in an unprecedented Holocaust. 6 million Jews were killed. On the other hand, he said, it's also undeniable the Palestinian people, Muslims, and Christians have suffered in pursuit of a homeland. What a ridiculous equation. This parallelism amounts to the fictitious Arab narrative that the deliberate mass murder of 6 million Jews for the crime of being Jewish is analog to a Jewish-driven violation of Palestinian rights. What's further, it undermines Israel's existence because the Palestinians say the Holocaust didn't even occur. But put that aside for a minute. There's a new book by a left-wing Israeli professor who doesn't believe in a Jewish state named Sands. It was reviewed in the Wall Street Journal October 30th. The article is Where Do Jews Come From? And basically, in this review by Evan Goldstein, he talks about how this book says that the Jews from Europe were descendant of the Khazars who converted to Judaism in the early Middle Ages, and they migrated finally into Ukraine, Poland, and Lithuania, and they became Eastern European Jewry, and therefore those Jews who founded modern Israel have no relationship to ancient Israel, and therefore it undermines Israel's legitimacy. Well, I have 5 responses. First, number 1, the same day, a professor of Israel named Karl Skokorski, using cutting-edge molecular science, proved absolutely that Eastern European Jews are linked to Aaron genetically. You can trace it through DNA. Secondly, genetics is a Nazi argument anyway. Even if every one of the Jews in Israel, which is ridiculous, was related to the Khazars and not to Aaron or any original Jews, they're still part of the covenant as much as any born Jew, and the only way to deny that is to deny the Bible. God says, I give this land to the descendants, and we've always interpreted that to be the spiritual descendants too. Third, how does this possibly relate to the millions of Jews who are descended from the Arab world, who were in Babylonia from 586 BCE until modern times, never went to Eastern Europe? Those Jews who settled Israel, they're directly related. 4, what do the anti-Zionists think happened to the Jews who were taken as slaves by Rome in the year 70 from Israel? They're the basis of European Jewry. What happened to them? And the 5th, no nation in the world has a better claim to any land than Israel does. The Muslims have a claim to the Middle East. They stole it by sword, starting from Muhammad's time. America, what right do we have to this land? Israel has the best claim of any land in history. So much for the Sands effort to delegitimize Israel.